Welcome to the Workforce Connections podcast, where we discuss workforce development in Southern Nevada. Here's your host.
Welcome to another episode of WC Podcast. My name is Ricardo Villalobos, serving today as your host. We're really excited for this morning, for today, because we're initiating our very first youth podcast. And with me here today is Jasmine Gibson. We're super excited to have you here, Jasmine. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have just a great conversation today so that the world can get to know how beautiful a human being you are. And I think you got a great message for other young ladies, young men, and I think for just the world at large. I really believe that. When I first met you, there was just an energy that came from you, right? That I was like, we have to get this youth podcast here at Workforce Connections going. And so you're our very first, person doing this podcast for our youth. And so we know that you have some great stuff to share with us today. So excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, Jasmine. So let's get started. I'm just going to have a bunch of questions for you, Jasmine, and be yourself. You may share some things where I want to kind of maybe dig a little deeper so I get to know you, so the world gets to know you, right? So let's tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Where were you born? How long you been in Vegas? Just start there, and then we'll just let this thing roll.
So I'm actually not from Vegas. I'm from California, the AV part, like Palmdale, Lancaster. I don't know if you heard of it, but that's the part I'm from. And we migrated over here because we lost our house. So you know what gentrification is. When they you know what I'm saying? When they move. I don't want to say white people, but that's typically what they do.
Just keep it real.
Yeah, they move the white people in, they move all the colors out. That's basically what happened because, we wanted to buy our house, but he wouldn't let us. So we lost our house, so we migrated to Vegas. And me, I was 16, 17 during that time, and it was COVID, and I was going to school on the computer. Imagine finishing your high school off, going to school on a computer. Imagine how stressful that is, first of all. Right. So I was going through all that. Plus, my aunt, who was taking care of me, she just, I don't want to say she wasn't trying to understand me. I just feel like she couldn't understand me on a level that I needed. So I was drinking, I was partying, I was like trying to just forget everything that was going on because so much was going on. We were homeless, we were in hotels, and I was going to school. I was trying to finish school, and then I'm trying to tell her, like, I need an ID, I need to start working, I need to do this, I need to do that. So all that really overwhelmed me because I'm seeing, and then guys, social media plays a big role in it because when you're looking at social media and you see people your age have everything that you feel like you should have, that puts so much pressure on you, and I didn't even realize it at the time. So that's why I kind of plunged into the drinking habit that I did to where it blew up right in front of my face. But that was the best thing that has ever happened to me because it led me to iFoster. So I had gotten when I was 17 and I was in Vegas.
Yeah, because I'm interested in hearing about iFoster. I know that's had a huge impact on your life, so you're making that transition. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about iFoster, how you got involved, what it's done for you.
So I came to iFoster when I was 18, I believe, and I had to go to California to go to their work site. So they were very helpful. I'm telling them, like, I'm homeless, I need help, and they're like, okay, we could get you connected and everything. So they got me connected through this. We were doing COVID. So we were connecting people to COVID vaccines, like who couldn't get connected to them. So that's what we were doing at first. So that's how I stumbled upon iFoster because I was homeless. So I went to California and I was like, what can I do? So I just kept calling everybody. And the person that I was telling you about, not the 211 person, but the person before that I was telling you about, she kind of helped me got connected to resource. I really forgot the name.
That's all right.
But that's kind of how I stumbled upon iFoster.
Yeah. And so tell me a little bit about iFoster. And then my follow-up question would be, tell me the difference that being a part of iFoster has made in your life, right? Because a lot of people don't know about iFoster. Right. Hopefully they'll want to look into it. But tell me about iFoster. What does it do?
iFoster serves foster youth who need employment. So they only employ foster youth. So even if, it don't matter if you were in the foster care system for 3 days, you were still in the foster care system, they still work with you. But basically, it's foster youth that's connecting youth like them to resources. So with me, I started off connecting people through 2 COVID vaccines. And then my second term was peer navigation. So I was looking up resources in my state and determining if they were good resources or not. And now I kind of do, it's new, it's fresh, but I kind of help people like who are caregivers, like what they should do. So like they send me over things and what caregivers are doing, or they ask me questions, and I, from my experiences and things, I tell them, what they should do, and how youth feel and things like that caregivers wouldn't get from their kids.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know the connection that Workforce Connections has with iFoster is because we're both focused on workforce development.
Yeah.
And even more specifically, working with young adults, young men, young women such as yourself. Mm-hmm. And so your success story is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, it really
is. I literally came from nothing.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. And I think your story today and your journey is going to inspire people, as you share, your journey and keeping it real, keeping it raw, keeping it honest, and not hiding anything, because I think there's a lot of people who probably experience what you've experienced, and if anything, can connect with you on that emotional level, right? That soul level, feeling what you felt, right? So thank you for sharing that. I know you've been with my girl, Dr. Tiffany Tyler, at the City of Las Vegas for a while. Tell me about that. What was that experience like?
It was so new because I was working at home, and then we got positions, in person. So it was very new, and I was kind of didn't know what to say, like the right thing. I was kind of scared, but Dr. Tyler was very friendly, and she was very open, and she let me know, like, you don't have to be perfect walking in here. Right. As long as you're walking in here with your head held high, that's your best. That's what you can do. So her and Sean Torrey, I don't know if you know him as well. Yep. They were both great. Sean Torrey, he sat down with me, he talked to me. He was like, I really want to help you. We really all want to help you, want you to feel welcome. Mm-hmm. So it was a great experience. It really was. So
it sounds like Sean and Dr. Tyler kind of served as like mentors in your workplace.
Yeah, they were basically my mentors,
Yeah. And knowing them, I'm sure they, not only talk to you about, what it means to be a professional in an office setting, right? But also about personal stuff, right?
Yeah.
So did it have an impact in your life having a mentor like them?
Yes, because I had to look at myself in the mirror, and I had to change a few things. This is a professional site. You can't let your emotions from at home affect you coming into the workspace. So that's something I had to look at myself and really, change. I had to get control of my emotions if I'm going to be going in person, working with people. Yeah,
that's awesome, Jasmine. I think that reflects a lot of your maturity, right? And a lot of your, just desire to be your best self.
Yes.
And so that's awesome. I'm glad to be here with you.
Thank you.
And getting to know you more myself, right? Tell me about, let's make a little transition here. You're in iFoster, you're doing workforce development. What are some of your personal, goals?
My personal goals out of iFoster, I'm trying to gain experience first of all, but I'm also trying to build something from iFoster. Like I was telling you, I want to own my own podcast. I want to do things. I just want to be really, really successful because I feel like I've been given all the tools to be successful. Why can't I? I want to be, I want to be as big as Sarita. I want to be as big as you guys. I want to be up there. I don't want to be small. I don't want to think small. And once you start thinking small, your world becomes small. So that's why every time I walk into a room, I start telling them about, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that. Because it could be people like you to be like, okay, you could do this. I got this for you,
Yeah.
So I just want to be successful.
Yeah. Let me tell you something, Jasmine, that I really believe you're already successful.
Thank you.
You really are, especially you sharing, where your start, right? Your journey and kind of what your circumstances were and where you're at now. You're already successful. So you just keep doing you, being you, and continue your success. So I want you to really take that home, though, right, and to heart, because don't think that you're not and that you need to be or you're going to be. You already are. And I want you to leave here believing that. So it's just, what's the next thing for me, right? So, you mentioned, if I may kind of circle back to, your circumstances, as I mentioned, and some of the challenges you've had. You mentioned being homeless, right? You mentioned kind of being from hotel to hotel. You mentioned your, challenges with drinking, and the party scene and stuff like that. What other challenges have you had? What other challenges have you faced, just in your life's journey?
I would say the most thing I faced that I wasn't prepared for was like pressure of the world, pressure of people, them trying to make you do things that they want you to do. And I kind of, growing up, I had the parent where it was what I say goes. So when I got into the world, I felt like I didn't have a voice or an opinion. I felt like I had to do what everybody else was telling me to do, So I kind of was a people pleaser. Let's put it like that. I was a people pleaser. I was made a people pleaser, basically, because if you're at home and somebody's telling you, like, do it this way, do this, and they're telling you every day, like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. When you have somebody telling you how to live your life, you're going to look at other people to tell you how to live your life, if that makes sense.
That makes absolute sense. And so Jasmine, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off. I have to recognize your awareness, your courage, your vulnerability, because a lot of people don't like to admit that they're people pleasers, right? I tell people all the time, I'm a people pleaser, and I really believe we all are, but it's the ones that could admit it that I believe have the most courage, the most vulnerability, who are truest to themselves, because that's when that awareness leads you to be able to do something about it, right? And have that sense of, I want to be a people pleaser in this moment, I have to make a choice, am I going to be or not? So amazed by your level of maturity, your level of personal awareness, insight into yourself. Again, you're already successful, not only professionally, but personally. I think that's very beautiful. Thank you for that vulnerability. Thank you for that courage. And thank you for saying, this is me, this is what I've seen. So thank you for that. That was really special, Jasmine.
Thank you.
And I think it sets a great example for other young men and women, but not only them, for, my generation, right? That, hey, let's take a good look at ourselves. What are we dealing with? And I can relate with that stuff, so thank you. Speaking of the next generation of the workforce, right? Like your generation, give me your thoughts on, your generation as it relates to the workforce.
So my generation, as it relates to the workforce, I know your guys' generation calls us lazy. We don't like to keep jobs. We like to quit. But in reality, I feel like we've been in survival mode for so long. We're not trying to take that. We're not trying to take that at no job, sitting at no job for 15 years and not elevating, making $14, $12 an hour, getting told what to do by somebody. So I don't feel like we're lazy. I just feel like we're the generation now that just won't take nothing from nobody, no matter what it is. No matter. That's what I love about my generation, because you could say we quit a job, okay, but we're still going to get back on our stuff. Do you see how many people are famous off of TikTok, making so much money off of Instagram, TikTok, and everything? Our work ethic is crazy, okay? I'll say that about our generation. Our work ethic is crazy. When we want something, we're going to get it.
You're going to go get it. Yeah. You bring up something I think is interesting, calling my generation out, right? And I appreciate it, you mentioned like how we view you as lazy. Another thing that I've heard, and I'll be honest, that I've thought, right, it is this that the younger generation wants this instant gratification. They want it quick, right? They want that quick money. They want to grab that bag, right? And so TikTok's the way to do it, or some social media is the way to do it, or all these things that are happening that young people, your peers, are doing, then all of a sudden making all this money. And so there's this kind of perception that, your generation wants to be a TikToker, your generation wants to do this, your generation wants to do that.
Y'all just want quick, easy, fast money.
Yeah, that's how, the perception is out there. And I've been guilty of having it myself, so talk to me.
Right. And I feel like that's not the whole story. I feel like looking at your guys' generation compared to our generation, y'all had y'all parents more than us. If you look at statistics today, many people are in a single household, and if it's not a single household, they're in foster care. So back then, people were staying married. They were together no matter what. They were taking care they probably wasn't taking care of their kids, but at least they were staying together, and if not, if the dad didn't have them, the mama have them, and if the mom didn't have them, the auntie have them. But now you see kids are just in foster care. They're getting abused. You see they're getting neglected. Parents are literally killing their children. Like, that's literally what we see every day. I don't know if that's what's happening so much back then, but I didn't hear about that. I didn't grow up hearing my auntie say anything about that. We used to be able to be outside all day at nighttime 1 o'clock in the morning outside riding bikes. Now you can't even step outside without the fear of somebody's going to take you. So I feel like our generation, due to social media, due to everybody just seeing everything, due to us being able to see murders and all that so easily, we're like, I don't want to be outside. I don't want to do that. If TikTok is the way, I'm going to do that, you know? It's just so much scary things when we step outside now in our generation that we just don't want to be a part of. And I just feel like we shouldn't be called lazy because of that.
So that's what I'm sensing is that's your message to my generation, right? Is don't view us as lazy. Don't label us lazy, you know.
Because we're trying.
Yeah,
we are.
Yeah. So what message do you have for my generation? So, you know, if you were to say, this is who we really are, this is how we believe makes a difference in our lives when you view us this way.
So I would say what could have helped me hearing from my aunt, you know, going into life or whatever, is that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to, you know, they're telling you that you need to know what you want to do when you go to college. You need to know this by 17 out of high school. You need to take these state tests. You need to do this. You need to do that. All these things to be successful. And that's just not true. As you can see, you know, our generation, you don't even have to go to college. You don't even have to complete high school to do what you do and to do what, you know, other people do. So I would just say, give us grace, okay? Give us grace, okay? Y'all used to be paying $500 for a 1-bedroom. We paying $1,000. Give us grace, okay? We is trying. And I want to say to my youth that you don't have to have it all. I know you see it on social media. I know you feel it when you don't have it. I know you feel lonely and everything. But at the end of the day, it's going to come. I said the same thing, and now I'm in my second apartment, literally, by myself. And I said the same thing when I was 17, homeless, and didn't have nothing. Like, I'm never going to get it. I'm never going to have it. They're telling me I should do this, but I'm just sitting down on the couch, not doing nothing. But I still have stuff today. Yeah. You can't work the whole year, every day. You have to have time to yourself. You have to have time to think. So I just feel like to your generation and to my generation, give each other grace, you know? That's just what I really feel like.
That's beautiful, Jasmine.
Thank you.
Grace is such a powerful practice, right? I mean, I was going to say a principle, but it's more than that. It's
really, you have to really learn it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And there's something about receiving grace. I know I need it in my life, you know, from people, from God.
Yeah, you know when you don't feel like nobody's like, not nobody's paying attention to you, but when you feel like everybody's just saying negative things about you without even, you know, trying to get to know you or trying to get to know your situation, it's not going to make you want to further your situation. It's not going to make you want to do nothing.
Right.
You know, it's going to make you more depressed than anything. Yeah. So I feel like, and looking back, you know, I didn't have the resources from my aunt that I should have had. I should, you know, I should have been taught how to drive. I should have been taught a lot of things that I just wasn't taught. And I feel like since I wasn't taught those things, it shouldn't be on me to figure out everything in my life, you know? So people looking in, you shouldn't be like, oh, you're lazy because this, that, and the third. Even though other people didn't have parents, you still should be doing this. That's not true. That's not true. If I didn't have it, how do you expect me to go get it or have the vision to go get it without somebody telling me, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you, Jasmine. Thank you for that, because I have 2 boys of my own. So I think you're giving me a lot of insight.
Yes, give them grace. Tell them they're important. Tell them they matter. Tell them what they're doing is important. Tell them even if they're sleeping on the couch, you're doing great. Okay, you're doing amazing.
That's beautiful, Jasmine. You know, you said something that really resonated with me that I'm a personal believer in. And you know, there's this message out there, you know, you have to go to college. You're less than if you don't go to college. And one of the things that I really love about workforce development and the work we do is that if that's for you, do you, right? But there's so much other opportunities, right, out there. So like the apprenticeship programs, right? You can be an apprentice where you earn while you learn, and you don't end up with the debt, and you end up with the skill.
Or you could go to trade school, you know.
Trade schools, yeah, and be a tradesman, and now you have a skill set, right?
And now you can, you know, live in the world.
Now you can live. Like my dad was a construction worker, and he was a concrete finisher, And so he'd do that during the week, for the paycheck to pay the bills. And then on the weekends, he had a side hustle where he would lay concrete patios for people. And so he was kind of like this entrepreneur running his own little business, making that bag on the side. And so the skills trades gave him that skill. And, I asked him the other day, just a quick story, because he bought a second house. And I was like, Dad, how long did it take you to pay your house? He said, a year. And I was like, what? He goes, yep, because I sold the first one. And then he goes, and I just had enough money saved to totally pay it off in a year. And so I thought that was phenomenal. And here's a construction worker, uneducated immigrant who
doing
it, right? Getting it done, making it happen. So, but anyways, it's not about me or Mike, it's about you, Jasmine. Let me ask you this, as we start kind of landing the plane, so to speak, in our time together. What's the favorite thing that you enjoy about being a young person today?
My favorite thing that I enjoy about being a young person, I don't want to just say TikTok because I know y'all didn't. That's that. I don't want to just say.
I'm
TikTok.
over here like, what's TikTok?
But that's one of them, because it introduced us to a lot of information that you just will never know. But being a young youth in this generation, I just feel like we have so much more wisdom since we see a lot on the TVs and we go through a lot more than, I don't want to say we went through a lot more than you guys' generation because who knows, I can't say that, but we see it more now. Like you can open Instagram or TikTok and see somebody dying. So I just feel like we see everything and we have the wisdom and we build off of that, if that makes sense. So I like my generation because we're resilient and I like how hardworking we are about things that we love. Yeah. So I would say that's what I like about being a young adult in this generation today.
Good for you, Jen.
Yeah.
And then last question, and then we can just kind of freestyle and really for you to share anything else you want to get your message out. But along those lines is what message do you have for the world today?
What message do I have for the world today?
To your peers, to my generation, to just the world. What's Jasmine Gibson's message to the world today?
Breathe. Take a deep breath, okay? I know you got a lot of weight on your shoulders. I know you're probably feeling stressed. I know you probably got a lot of bills. I don't know what you guys are going through out there, but breathe, okay? You're going to get there. If it's meant for you, it's going to happen. If it's, it's going to happen. It has to happen. It was set to happen. Like all of our lives are predetermined. Literally. We not know it, but he does. And he's going to make it happen. No matter if you could see it, no matter if they could see it, he's going to make it happen. And if you're putting in the work, it's going to happen. Yeah. And don't stress yourself out like, oh, I'm not doing enough because this person is. Y'all got two totally different lives. You don't know what he's going through. You don't know how he got that to get that, Yeah. So just give yourself grace, breathe, take it day by day, and understand that everybody's story is different. Your story may not be the same or look the same as everybody else's, and that's okay. Your story may not take place until a certain time, and that's okay. You may not finish at a certain time. That's okay.
Yeah. And the church said?
Amen.
Amen. Amen, Jasmine. Jasmine, I forgot to ask you because I'm just sitting here just amazed, blown away, right, by you and the human being you are. How old are you?
20.
20. Mm-hmm. Jasmine Gibson is 20 years old.
Yes.
Wow. You're phenomenal,
Thank
Jasmine.
you.
You really are. I'm not BSing you. I think there's a lot of beauty in you. And, your message is powerful. What you've had to share today is good for everybody to hear. I hope that your peers, folks that are your age, who've gone through what you've gone through, who've experienced what you've experienced, who can resonate, connect, with, like I said, your heart, your soul, your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts. Know that there's, our employing youth hubs out there that can help them get on track, right? Help them find that, again, whether it's college or not, that opportunity to get in to the workforce and get on a pathway, right? Not just chase the bag. Like you, I think what I'm hearing from you is to have that sense of purpose, right? That sense of meaning, that sense of significance, and bring all the talents that they have, right? All the success that they're already having to the table, right? So thank you for all of that. Is there anything else that you want to share? Anything else that you feel like, hey, you want Jasmine Gibson, this is me. Anything that you want to talk about that,
I just want to let, people know that their story it doesn't define them, I came from nothing. It's not that I came from nothing, because my auntie, she had a house. We was in a house. It's just at some certain point in time, we didn't, and we were going through it, and I was going through personal stuff. And at a certain point in time, I thought that was who I was, but it's just the circumstance that I was going through. That's not who you are. Just because you go through things and you experience things and you act out on those things does not mean that that's who you are, and that does not define you. As long as you are, accepting of what you're doing and you see what you're doing and you're willing to fix it, I feel like that's better than just sitting and making mistakes, because everybody's going to make mistakes. Everybody's going to mess up. You're going to say things that are not okay. You're going to do things sometimes that are not okay. And I gave my auntie grace. I never blamed her for anything. I just felt like with the 3 kids that you have who already went through the foster care system, we had scabies coming out the foster care system. We were malnourished. It's in my report. Every time I go to school, they can see it, So it's like, when you have those 3 type of kids, you kind of need to maneuver in a different way. And I'm not blaming her for anything, but I just felt like as a person and seeing us and knowing our story, you could have did better. That's what I just feel like. I just feel like if you're going to be a parent, that's another thing. Y'all need to stop having kids if y'all is not going to take care of them, okay? Okay? Because this foster care system is filled. We is filled. And it's too many kids that are getting neglected and that are not getting the understanding that they need, but they're getting put in this world by parents who don't even want them. And it just doesn't make sense. And we're supposed to go through the world having a sense of purpose, and we don't even know who our parents is, Yeah. So I just want to let people know that their story does not define them. You can always change your chapter. You can always write a new book. You can always, do it different, That's what I just want to let everybody know. That's what I kind of want to say. I kind of wanted to talk about my brother and, him and my challenges that I faced with him, because since he was going through what he was going through, my auntie kind of wiped her hands, which I get it because he's mentally challenged and he's a lot. But I just feel like he should have been given, more. I get that he's not in the right mind state to receive it and to understand it and to actually grab it, but he still needs help. So I want to I see homeless people all the time. I go up to them and ask them, why are you homeless? Because I really genuinely want to know, why are you on the street? And one man told me, he said, because of the freedom. And that really kind of stuck to me, because as a human being, we're not really free. We're not. And as a Black young lady, we're not free at all either. So it's like, you see men feel like we're supposed to give ourselves to them. And then when you get in friendships, it gets even weirder. Then you don't even have with the connections from your family to build sustainable connections. So it's all jumbled and you're feeling lost and all these things, but you kind of have to go through that to know who you are and what you want to allow and what you want to accept. So that's kind of what I want to say.
Thank you, Jasmine.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's I feel like I can sit here and talk to you all day and
Thanks.
And learn from you, Jasmine, and get insights from you. And so I really consider it a privilege and an honor to be in your presence, to have this conversation with you. Again, I think it's your story is amazing. It's beautiful. It's powerful. It's real. It's raw and honest. So thank you for being that way. Thank you for being you, bringing that to today, to our very first youth podcast,
Yes. Hopefully I get to join the team and make it a regular thing.
Yeah. Would love to bring you back and participate in this, or, a year from now or however long from now, bring you back and continue to share, the trajectory of your continued success.
Yeah.
So thank you for giving us just your heart, your soul, your thoughts, and all of you today. So really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So that's going to do it for our very first youth Workforce Connections podcast with Jasmine Gibson. And want to encourage you to stay safe, and we hope to see you again at our next youth podcast here at Workforce Connections. Thank you.